Welcome to Sit Down Stand Up with John Malkin, the show where comedy meets conversation. Get ready for a ride full of laughs, stories from the stage, and possibly a few surprises. And now, here's your host, John Malkin.
And welcome to another Sit Down Stand Up with John Malkin. That is me. I'm John Malkin. Welcome. This is by the way, the studio where I do this wonderful show out of has we've done some remodeling, haven't we?
We have. We've painted a little bit.
Did you guys paint the wall?
Nah, we're too lazy.
No, but there's some furniture been moved and it looks streamlined.
We got rid of the junk.
You got yes. Thank you. I feel so. I have a lot more room to negotiate. They say. Anyways, we got a phenomenal show today. This is a first of first because we have never had someone from across the pond, and it's not just any pond. We're talking ponds. We have a very special guest, a hysterical guy from Tasmania, Australia. A lot of you listening right now probably have no idea where that is, and I had to look it up too. So don't feel so bad. But we have this guy is freaking funny. He's new to the scene. He's doing his comedy out of Australia. He's a security guard, still does it, turned stand-up comic. Please welcome from Tasmania, Blake. Chase that feeling, Hardwicke. How are you, mate?
Awesome, mate. John, thank you for having me.
Oh, my God. You know what? The last person that had that thick of an accent on the show was from Jersey, New Jersey. So
Nice. I'll try and outdo it. I do tend to turn it on a little bit when I'm doing comedy. I don't know why, so I'll try and just maintain my proper English accent.
No, man. Go full men at work.
Go full ocker.
Yes. Go
Yep.
deep, man. It's so glad. I'm so glad having it. Because the way I get guests on the show is, I communicate with a lot of different. I'm members of a lot of different Facebook groups, comedy groups across the country, in LA and Boston, and get these fantastic guests. And you were kind enough, and you sent me this message, said, "Hey, if you want someone from Tasmania, I'm happy." And I'm like, I had to look that up. I'm like, I've heard of it, but where was it? But you're way across the pond, man. You are full Australian.
We are, mate, and down our little end of the Australia too, we are very remote. Like we are, an hour and a half's flight probably from decent comedy and things like that. We've got a bit of a local scene, but that for me, because I live up the boony end of the state, basically. That for me is a 3-hour drive to go do comedy. So I get out and do it probably 3 times a month. That's sort of what the budget and lifestyle allows at the moment. So these sort of things like jumping on radio interviews and, the channels especially like Bear Love on Facebook and a couple of those guys, Stand Up USA and Comedy Cartel, like they've been awesome and great to follow you guys that are really in the trenches, like doing it, the stuff I want to do eventually.
So you'll drive. So is Tasmania? I sound so ignorant, because I know nothing about biology.
It's fine, mate.
No, but so is Tasmania an island off of Australia?
It is. So it's a little island state beneath Australia. It's a little triangular sort of state. They call it the map of Tassie, which makes reference to like a woman's area, map of Tassie they call it, a big hairy map of Tassie. But it's nice triangular, it's a little state. We grow a lot of, we're big on food. They sell a lot of lovely food. We have some of the best food in the world.
What kind of food is it? What's the Tasmanian specialty? What's the food
specialty?
Down?
Tend to go for like a lot of seafood, really good seafood. I guess you'd call them lobsters over there, but crayfish over here. All those sort of things, a lot of fish and salmon farming and things like that. I've worked in salmon farming before. I've done a lot of different jobs in my time, blue collar and white collar. So
good for you, man. Now the crazy thing about the time change here. So right now we do the show live at 4:30.
Yep.
On Tuesday, and it is now 8:30 on Wednesday. So you're tomorrow.
Yes, I am.
You're having breakfast tomorrow, and we're having dinner tonight. Sounds like bad.
I am the future, mate.
So if it's tomorrow your time, if I were to call you up, and would you be able to tell me what the lotto numbers were? Like my
Yeah, well, maybe as long as you gave me a 50% cut, I reckon.
done.
We're on.
So let's
Yeah,
talk about your background. You're born and raised in Tasmania. Are you a Are you a pure Tasmanian devil?
I really am. But I grew up kind of on the opposite end of the state. So where I go for all the comedy, I grew up in a really low socio-economic area, next to the state prison. You know, which really rough town.
Yes.
Little town by the name of Risdon Vale. You know, and so a lot of my comedy comes from there. You know, growing up hearing prison sirens, all the, I guess you guys call them rednecks, but we call them bogans over here. It was sort of a lot of bogan mentality and fighting, and you know, just it made for some comedy material when I got older. Put it that way.
Oh, you must have just a ton.
I do. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I moved. Basically, I was down there until I was about probably, I think I was about 11 years old, and then I moved up north. Things got just too rough down there, so I moved up north with my father, and to a big property, but or a biggish property. It's 160 acres, but
Oh, wow.
just a little hobby type farm, but a lovely area, which that's where I'm getting back to. I'm building a renovating a studio out there to start doing my own podcasts and things like that. So it's
Man.
yeah, big change. But a lot of different changes too. I sort of went from a very rough family, very rough area to living on a farm. You know, hardworking Catholic family. My father's an engineer. You know, they dumped me straight into a private Catholic school. You know, from the worst public state school in the state to the one of the best Catholic schools. So that was a big.
You literally went from hell to heaven. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like it's been that dramatic for you.
it was, yeah, but it gave me a very good lens on people, I guess, and a lot of different. You know, I can look at a crowd now and I can kind of pick some material for older people, younger people.
Right.
Um, yeah, mainly, you know, a lot of middle-aged guys, I guess, tend to go for some of my comedy, because I come across as a bit bogan and a bit ochre and a bit relatable, you know, for manual type work and stuff like that. But
Well, yeah,
yeah,
you certainly are. You certainly have, you know, dipped your toes in various socioeconomic, you know, environments. So you can bring a lot to, and please don't take this the wrong way, but you can present yourself physically as also one who's a bogan, and also
absolutely.
one who's a little bit more, you know, upper class, if that's the word to use and all that. But you can kind of go back and forth, which is something that, you know, not everyone can do. That's a cool thing to have, especially as a comic.
Yeah, well, that's what white collar work taught me to be really smart and vicious, and how to write a really vicious email,
Right.
and that served me really well in the job I'm in now because it's not such an admin office focused job. It's more just looking after a bunch of guys, you know,
Right.
making sure they have what they need.
Right.
So it served me well, and it's yeah, it's been an experience, all these different jobs and things and people.
For you.
But
And right now, so you're a security guard. What are you securing? What are you guarding?
So we basically we run the front reception admin desk, and we also do security for a local place that they get a bunch of French fries. They cook French fries and
Sure.
hash browns and things like that, and they ship it out locally to all the McDonald's businesses in like Australia, basically.
Now,
Uh,
why do you need to guard that? I mean, is it for what? Who's going to steal? I mean, is there a theft issue with potatoes and?
no, we're more there as a concierge type office front of house position. It's mainly the infrastructure we guard. We're just there, you know, when the factory's empty. If things go wrong, we just ring people. So if things start to catch fire or blow up, it doesn't cost too much. You know,
Okay.
we have that. That's been a big part of why the team's there is just looking after the place, basically.
Got it.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
very little intruders and things like that. We did have a guy run in the back gate one night when a truck had just left, and he immediately got chased by 4 angry Tasmanians.
So what was
And
the guy looking for? What was he going to steal?
I don't know what he had in mind, but he managed to kick a door in and steal a bottle of bleach. So I kind of yelled at him to go drink it as he jumped over the fence. Yeah, I'm not the best. I'm not the most appropriate security guard.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's some great material there, man. Now, your nickname is Chase That Feeling, Blake Chase That Feeling, which is I love that, man. Now, where'd you come up? What's the genesis? What's the impetus behind that?
I've always been chasing something, and it's generally been unhealthy as hell. You know, if it's been drugs or it's been high speed in a car or high speed on a motorbike or,
You're
you know,
on the edge.
anything like that. And I've been missing something for a lot of years. Now I don't know what it is, and I'm still working it out. But probably about my third performance in, I realised to myself that I'd let go of a lot of trauma from when I was younger. Something had clicked. I felt 1,000% confident in who I was, and I realised it was because I was getting up on stage, and I was
Right.
presenting. Maybe I was presenting a hyper version of myself, but it was me. You know, and I've spent a lifetime probably trying to get people to look up to me and, you know, say, here I am, you know, I do the right thing, I do this and that. Whereas I've got to this stage in my life where I don't care about that anymore. I don't care what people think of me. I care about very few close people, you know, family, friends, and that's sort of it. Yeah, as for the name, Chase That Feeling, now I've got it. I know exactly where it's headed now, and it's up the comedy path. So.
I love it. You know, I was watching some of your stuff on YouTube, and I do hope that one day we do get to share the stage. And I'd love to come down to your hood. And of course, you come up to New York City, and now we'll get you up on stage out here. But there's something very natural about your delivery. To your point, watching you, I feel like I'm literally watching you. I'm
Yeah.
not watching someone. You know, I'm not to discount what other comics do because you
Mm.
know it's not like some comics have to figure out their voice. You know,
Yep.
that's what we do. Like I've been doing this for several years, and it took me. You know, what is my voice? What's my presentation? What's my delivery? How do I want to best serve the joke? You are literally you. You know,
Yep.
I get it's like, oh my god, this guy's not. This guy has his voice.
No,
Like
I'm not
you're
messing around. Yeah.
you're messing around. And plus, so your ability to tell the stories that you're telling is very natural, and it's also very funny because you deliver it in this fantastic kind of this cadence, this rhythm, and you have this tonality to you as if you're telling, but the stories you're telling are very natural and they're very funny. So you have this gift which a lot of comics kind of seek out.
Thank you, man. It's really nice to hear that back. I haven't had a lot of feedback about my comedy, only from other comics, and they're always pretty encouraging generally. Yeah, so I do appreciate that, and that's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming just to be me. There's a thing on my bio, you know, I'm big on the Rat King and Joey Diaz and those sort of guys, and I think Theo Von made a comment on a pod to Joey Diaz at one point, and it was never wanted to be. No, I came out here looking to just be me, you know.
Right,
And that's what I want to do. My comedy won't be that smart. It won't be that clever. It might eventually. I want to develop my comedy. I want to see. I do present this bit of a facade of bogan and blah blah blah, but also too, I want to tackle those kind of stereotypes. So I want someone to look at me and think, this guy's going to bag, you know, all the lefties, he's going to do this, do that. And then I just want to turn around and just rip those guys. Like, I want to keep people guessing a little bit. And it's really thrown some people off that know me at work, like, just some of the stories I've come out, they're sort of shaking their head going, why would you say that? You know, like the reason I kicked off the YouTube channel and then got into stand-up, one of the very first clips that I shared was a story about me training a young security guard, and I thought it'd be, you know, I was in the office, I got all rambunctious and excited. It was 3 a.m. in the morning. I slammed the door shut, thought it would be funny to fart in the office and lock him in there, but I went too far. And something fell out of me. So I had to run into the toilet and I kind of just yelled at the guard to go on patrol. Now, that was the first thing I put on my channel. And for me, that just blew my confidence up because I thought, fuck it, that's got to be one of the worst stories about myself, the most embarrassing, and I don't care what people think as long as someone got a laugh out of it. And they did. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great story. So, all right, let me ask this question because You said you haven't been doing comedy that long. You said you started doing it in like August of last year, 2024.
I did.
So, yeah. So and you have this now. I'm watching you, and I'm like, first of all, you're really funny. I mean, like I said, you've got a great future in comedy, but you decided like you wanted to do something a little bit different. Like you've had this life, you have this background, you've had these demons, and now you've got these angels and all that. Why comedy? I mean, you could have said, I want to take it into some other areas. I mean, maybe it could be theatrical, maybe it could be writing and all that. But comedy is, which of course you and I both love and all that. But what took you to the stand-up route that said, I want to take what I have that's buried in my brain, and I want to write about it. I want to bring it out on stage in jokes and one-liners and stories and etc.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it was, I used to watch a lot of comedy. Basically, that was my go-to for healing. Like when I was at my worst, it really dragged me out of some bad times.
Right.
Especially podcasts and things like that. I really like that connection with people. This is why I like doing stuff like this. This is why I don't like cliquey type groups of comics and things like that. I just want to see. This is why I've had a lot of trouble even in Tasmania, just breaking into some groups, even just for, I'm not getting paid for some of this stuff. It's just, even just open mics and things like that.
Right.
It's it can be very hard to get into. So I kind of want to get away from all that clicky type stuff.
Got it. Is
Yeah.
the comedy? What is the? I mean, you're driving 3 hours to do a gig, and then are you turning around and coming back? Are you staying there? And that's a long.
I'm very, very fortunate. You can actually see the house on some of my channel, but I stay with a friend in Hobart. He's got a lovely house overlooking the ocean. So that's almost a little holiday in itself. So me going for comedy is not much of a task. I kind of go there, get high before I go, go, and then I'll go back there and we'll party a bit, and then I'll come home the next day. So
tell me about the scene in Tasmania, or where you're driving to, and all that. What is the comedy scene look like there? I mean, do you have clubs? Are they in the backs of bars and in bowling alleys? I mean, where are they setting up the mic and the stool?
So we've got some kind of solid names in comedy here. Rob Braslam would be one. This is going to mean nothing to you guys, but I do want to give him a shout out if he ever hears this.
Of course.
He's probably the forerunner of Tasmanian comedy. He's been doing it for 10 to 15 years, built up a few different shows that are generally run out of, they are bars, but some of them are set up. It's quite funny. I've noticed even in America, the word brew and it associated with comedy is insane. Like we've got Brew Lab down here, then we've got, Brew House have comedy and all this, but it's all these little, in Tasmania, it seems to be a lot of breweries, a lot of pubs, but some of them have quite dedicated areas for bands and comics. So I've never really played. I think the last that I did was probably the smallest room, and that was like 25 people. But I think generally most of the rooms sit at about probably, you could stuff 50 in there easily, and they're usually pretty full. Some of them you could probably fit 100 in. Some of the bigger bars and that. And yeah, I've got some, some upcoming events that are going to be pretty exciting. Local sort of international comedy events that they host in Hobart, which is the capital city of Tasmania.
Okay.
So Rob Braslam, Aaron Maxwell's another one. He's just started. A lot of these guys just, they run this off their own back. They don't make much money. And they just really about connection and driving comedy. And then there's a couple of, I've been talking to some up and coming Tasmanian comics and trying to get on with them. I'm also looking to kick off my own show locally, probably in the next month. We call them RSLs in Australia. They're called the Return Services League. Basically, it's anyone that's served in the armed forces. It's like a social club for when they come back, and it's a support network, and they'll often have a physical presence in a town like a bar or something like that. But our local RSL, the treasurer reached out to me and you. I was looking for a venue, and you can seat about 150 people in that building. So
go. Yeah, that's the beauty of comedy. I mean, you don't like you said, you could. I mean, here, just like you. I mean, there's comedy in restaurants and pubs and bowling alleys, hotels, meeting rooms. I mean,
Yeah,
you just get some people, get a
yeah,
mic. You don't need amps. You don't need
yeah.
guitars. I mean,
Oh,
you just need the bare bones. So
that's
when
it.
if you want to move, so let's say you're just crushing it in Tasmania,
Mhm.
and then what's your next step after that? Do you want to get over to Australia and
Yep.
then get into to Sydney and Melbourne and bigger cities and towns to where I imagine the clubs probably are maybe a little bit larger, but who knows? Is
Yeah.
that the
Look,
ultimate next kind of
I'm not
step?
going to talk out of house like I know the scene over there because I really don't. I am too
Right.
new to this, but I'm very keen to get to know it, and I'm very keen to go outside the playbook though. Like I've noticed even since I've started doing this, I'm waiting for other comics. I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for venues. I'm waiting, and I've got this young comic that I'm gonna get to open for me this year when I start a show. And I said, why are we waiting? Why are we asking for permission? Let's just go do this. I said, let's grab a mic, let's grab a speaker,
Oh,
and let's go to pubs, let's go to venues. So that'll be my thing this year. I'm going to probably try and hit the mainland Australia for. I drive a cruiser motorbike, and I camp out of it, or off it, should I say. Um,
all right.
so I'm just going to jump on the bike. It's very cheap. We've got a ferry that runs between Tasmania and mainland Australia.
You
Um,
could take your vehicle on the
yeah,
ferry and just
so going to take the bike over, hit the road, try and organise a bit in advance, and just get my name out there, push the channel.
good for
I'm not that big on making it locally or anything like that. I'm really interested in the international connections and the national connections and everything like that. And I'm just going to keep working on my comedy locally as much as I can
I love it. Now,
and
where
sort of
can
see where
people?
it goes.
I love it. Now, for those who are listening, where can they find you? Your socials, man? Tell everyone where they can find you socially.
Yep. So pretty much Facebook and YouTube, chase that feeling with no J on the end.
Feeling, chase that
Yep,
feeling.
feeling. That's it. Yep.
Okay,
Just a quick
that's it.
story too, John. I've been hesitant to say this because I don't want to seem like I'm grabbing coattails or anything like that. But one of the main reasons that I really pump this comedy thing, and it's not a reason I'm going to continue it, but you'd be familiar with Josh Wolf, the American comic.
Of course, yeah.
Yep, I figured you would. So he does a lot of live streams. Now, the reason I kicked off really hard into the comedy thing was in September last year, and it's on my channel, so I'm not lying. um,
Right, right.
I jumped onto a live stream with him. We got talking. I'd done my first spot at that point, and I think he just loved my enthusiasm. We got talking, chatting, joking, and then he offered me. He said, "Send me through 5 minutes of your material in January, and when I come over to Australia, I might give you 5 minutes at the start of one of my shows."
There you go. There you
And
go.
that blew my mind. I don't think I've sent him the material, and I don't think it's going to cut it quite. There's not enough. Unfortunately, there's just not enough stage time for me to get
Right,
a tight five like I wanted to send to him. I never really got to send what I actually wanted. But
right.
I've sent him what I've got. He's thinking about it. So you might you might see me at a Josh Wolf show in Australia,
Yeah,
maybe.
man.
But
That
that's
deal.
but just the fact that he offered that was it was so awesome, so kind. And like I said to Josh, I said no hard feelings if you don't give me the spot, man. Just the drive you gave me was phenomenal. Like I
Well,
really
Josh.
felt like I had something and I gained something from it. So I don't care if I don't get that spot because I found comedy.
Well, Josh, if you're listening to this show, which I know you are, you got to give
He is definitely.
you got to give him some time because
That's it.
he's gonna bring it, man. You know what I love about you as well is that you're hungry.
Mm.
I mean, you might be hungry too because it's breakfast your time. But I mean, you're hungry. But you're hungry and you're attacking. That's what you got to do. I mean, in chewing any craft, whether you want to be an actor, a musician, you got a band, you got to go, you got to pay your dues and play in front of two people. And but you know what? It's about in comedy, and it's about making connections.
Yep.
And like you said, it's finding the right friends, finding the right people who book the rooms, giving you that 5 minutes, giving you that 7, then you get that 10, then you get the maybe you get the host, and then maybe you get the headline. I mean, it's a progression, but it's fun though, right? You're having a good time.
Oh, mate, it feels like a whole new me. It feels like I'm living a new life. I urge anyone anyone basically with a bit of funny in them, a funny story. If they think they've got 5 minutes, find a local comedy scene and just get involved. Even at work, the amount of just old guys and things like that come up to me and go, "Oh, Blake, you do your comedy. I thought of this the other day," and I'm turning around to them and going, "Mate, you just spilled 5 minutes of funny stuff out to me. Come with me." So, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to encourage. Everyone get out there and chase that feeling.
Now, what are you constantly writing? You're obviously there's so many things you see. You have so many different environments that you're in with, security guard, and and you live in Tasmania. But of course, those who live in Tasmania are like, "Oh, you're just talking about the house." To me, just talking about Tasmania, you can do an hour special.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Yep. There'd be a lot.
I mean, sorry, are you always, are you just constantly, are you one of these, you wake up in the middle of the night, you got this idea, you're just spitting things into your phone, you're writing things down, are you just constantly working your material and you're trying to get that tight five tighter and tighter?
I am now. Yeah, I'm very much. I have pretty severe ADHD and other. The attention's not always the best. The mind's certainly somewhere in there, but I tend to have to. Yeah, if I get something in my head, it drives my partner insane. I've been with her for 18 years now. And I'll just go, no, that stop. Just have to grab the phone, write something down, and then yeah, I reckon I've got. It was basically when I found comedy, I kind of had this big vomit of just ideas, stories, everything. So I spent probably 3 or 4 days, and I reckon I wrote just, probably 100 pages of stuff. And it's all just idiotic ramblings, but it's, I've come back to it. I keep coming back to it. I keep adding stuff. I'm developing show ideas. I've started writing songs. Serious songs too. I've actually given them to songwriting friends,
Nice.
which was kind of cool. That's what I found as part of the comedy. That just fell out of me too.
Love it.
And yeah, it's just been an absolute blast the whole way.
You, man. Well, you're having fun. I could just tell, just the energy and the just talking about it. I could tell you it really kind of it lifts your spirits.
It really does, man. And it's been great to find people that feel that way.
Yeah, it's a fun craft. I mean, you haven't been you're doing it since August, so what is that? 7, 8 months? I don't even know, whatever the calendar says. But it's fun though, isn't it?
It is, mate. It's yeah, I'd say it's a lifestyle choice, really.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's and I've been doing it for I guess three plus years now. I just it's I'm still constantly working at it. Jokes that I wrote 3 years ago, or even before that, before I started, I'm still perfecting. Because
Yep.
I mean, if you have a joke that doesn't quite work, that doesn't mean it's a bad joke. It might just need a little work.
Exactly.
And the beauty about comedy is, as you're finding out, is that it's instant feedback. I mean, you'll know if it works or it doesn't. If they laugh, it probably means it works, because there's
Yeah.
not a lot of courtesy laughing in comedy, I found.
No. And it's good to listen. I guess listen to people with experience and one. I don't spout YouTube material a lot, but as in obviously the pods and everything like that. But the Ralphie May masterclass,
Right.
Little resources like that for anyone. Just listen to those. Get out and just get out and try. Get up and build your confidence. You can really grab it. I feel like too, if you come out loud and angry enough, you can almost grab a crowd and you can make them laugh, whether they really want to laugh or not. You learn to pause. That's what I'm focusing on now. I realised I was stepping on a lot of laughs. So I'd say something funny and I'd only give them half a breath to laugh and then I'd be bang
It's
straight
right.
into it again. So
Timing. You're right. Figuring out the timing of when to step back in, when to step out.
yeah,
And just that timing and how to feed off the laughter and maybe get to that next level. Yeah, it's an art.
it
And a
really
science.
is. Yeah,
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 because we think about it. We're trying to elicit an emotion. Like I
yeah,
played in bands for many years, and Longo, my producer right here, is a musician. And I would always say that when we finish up a song, I've done a lot of original material. Whether someone likes it or not, they're gonna clap because
yep.
that's
It's a
who they.
polite thing to do.
It's a polite clap. But and they might like it, they might not, and it's fine. They might tap their toes, whatever. But in comedy, there's no courtesy, and I found it to be so much more rewarding that when you make someone laugh, especially when you're on stage and you get a whole room laughing at a joke, and then you can you feed on that, and then
Yeah.
you're riding that wave. It's an incredibly rewarding feeling, right?
It is, yeah. And I guess I'd urge anyone getting into it to not be too hard on themselves when they first start. I've never really, I don't think I've bombed. Not too badly anyway, but I remember maybe after my third performance, I come off the stage and I felt like shit. I said to the host, I said, "Oh, I just bombed. That was awful." And he goes, "No," he said, "you got laughs the whole way through." It was just the layout of the room, and because there wasn't a lot of people at the front, I didn't hear that much from up on the stage.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah, it's just about building confidence.
I love it. Well, it's such a pleasure having you on the show. This is so cool, and I want to follow you. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to haunt you on your social media. And if you do ever come out to the States, I'd love to figure out a way to share the stage with you, because I think you're really funny, and I think you have a tremendous future ahead of you. So there's a portion of the show that I do at the very end called Repeat Offenders. So I'm gonna ask you 5 questions, and you just give me the first thing that comes to your mind. Yeah,
Right.
don't have to overthink it. Whatever pops into your head. All right.
Okay.
So here's the first question for Blake. Chase that feeling, Hardwicke. From Tasmania, if you can invite anyone over to your house for dinner, dead or alive, who's coming to your house?
Ralphie May.
Who?
Ralphie May.
Ralphie May.
Oh, yeah. That man, he knows food and he's got stories.
All right. That's gonna be a hell of a dinner. I'm coming over that one.
Oh, yeah.
Question number 2. If you could tour with any comic, dead or alive, who you touring with?
Theo Von.
Oh, wow.
Because he's sober and he'd keep me in control. I'd do it out of respect for him.
You need a babysitter.
But I'd sneak off and smoke a bit of pot when he wasn't around. Yeah.
All right. I'll let you do that. All right. That's too funny. All right. Question number 3, Blake. If you were a ghost, who'd you spend the most time haunting?
Oh, my boss.
There you go.
Yeah. I already haunt him and I'm alive, so.
You show up. He'd be like, just another day.
Yep.
Another day. I love it. All right, question number 4. If a genie gave you one wish, what are you wishing for?
Oh, my God. Just no religion.
No religion?
Yep.
Wow. Any reason in particular? Because it's just too much strife and...
I think it drives a lot of the worst ideas in the world and a lot of the biggest hatred and a lot of the worst pain and a lot of the most war. It's yeah, I don't particularly hate religion, but I think it'd just be easy without it, really.
Okay, fair enough. All right, last question for you, man. If you had to wear a sign around your neck for the rest of your life, what would it say?
Find me on YouTube at Chase That Feeling.
Always self-promoting, baby. I love
Why
it.
not?
That's great. That's
Unshamed.
yeah, I love it. Might have to be a little bit bigger because you got a long domain there.
That's it. Yeah.
I love it, man. Oh man, this is such a pleasure having you, Blake. I'm so pleased that we were able to connect from I don't even know how, I should have looked it up. It's thousands and thousands of miles. I mean, you are literally tomorrow.
The internet's a good thing sometimes, isn't it? It's great.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. How is Wednesday? Do we have something to look forward to when we get to our Wednesday?
No, it's pretty grey over here, mate. So I'll try and keep the clouds and all the bad weather here. Actually, maybe you guys need them. All my love, with the wildfires over there. Tasmania's copped a lot of those. We cop some pretty bad heat waves when it is hot here.
It's summer there now, right?
It's summer here, yeah, yep. And we get a bit of snow in spots. We are very cold, but we're also in summer, like our summer sun burns worse than anywhere in Australia nearly. It really cooks you. So you need to, stay out of it. And we've had a lot of fires and I've lost friends and things like that. So I really, really, my heart goes out to those guys and, people that are going through that, especially any comics that I know through the groups. Here for you guys, all the best, all the love. Yep. All the water, for fuck's sake, all the water. Yep.
Right. I know. I have several. I know several people, several friends that have lost their homes, and I just
Mm.
can't. I can't even imagine. Can you imagine waking up one day with nothing?
Can you imagine not being able to turn on your hose and nothing comes out of it so you can save your own house? That's awful.
So sad.
Yeah.
So sad. Well, thank you, my friend Blake. Chase that feeling, Hardwicke in Tasmania, man. You got nothing but good things ahead of you. I feel it, and I appreciate you coming on the show. It has just been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Johnny M. I appreciate it, mate. Yeah, and you know, if you ever get to Australia, mate, you shout me out.
I know
I'll
where to
come and find you.
There's only
And if I ever get your way,
There's only like 7 people that live in Tasmania. And you're one of them, right?
that's it. Yeah, they're a pretty tough crowd. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. You just
This
keep me away from that tough crowd, would you?
I will. I'll
Sounds
try.
bad. Oh man. Well, man, this has been a fantastic show. I am John Malkin, and if you do want to find me, I'm at John Malkin Live. And I saw a little alert that you became a subscriber to my YouTube channel. Thank you. I will be sending you the show on. I will send you the link that we'll
Sweet.
post on my YouTube channel, John Malkin Live, and then you can share it with your friends and all your bogans down in Tasmania.
That I will, mate.
Yes, and I guess I should. Any upcoming shows that you want to plug before we?
No, look, I don't think it's you know, I've got a bit booked in for February, but it's more local. I'd say just keep, if anyone's interested, if they've, you know, found me funny today, just follow the channel. There's no set rhyme or reason to my channel. It's going to be stand up. It's going to be me, you know, trying to jump on a shark. You know, just stupid stuff. Funny stuff, clever stuff, important stuff at times. So just follow. Just, you know, if you want to chase that feeling with me, come along.
I'm chasing it, baby. You take care of yourself, Blake. For those who want to, I always, Longo, my producer, always beats me up when we hang up the show, and he's like, you know, you keep forgetting to plug your show. So I guess I should talk about a few shows coming up. So next, the 24th, which I guess would be your 25th, but on Thursday the 24th, I am at Broadway Comedy Club in New York City, 9:55 show. So that's a later show. And then on that Saturday, the 20th, or no, I'm sorry, that's Friday the 20th. On Saturday the 25th, I am at a new room at the Circle Hotel in Fairfield, a brand new room. I'm really excited. I'll be a featured comic. Mike opening up for a great guy, funny comic, Mike Hanley, I think his name is. And then on February 6th, I'll be at Comic Strip Live hosting the 5:30 show. So that's my first time hosting, and I'm really stoked to do that. Yeah, that should be kind of fun. Blake, my friend, nothing but the best to you. Chase that feeling. Keep chasing it.
Will do, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, my friend. And for those who are listening, again, thanks for tuning down to another phenomenal edition, my first international show, Sit Down, Stand Up with John Malkin. That is me, and we are out of here.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Sit Down, Stand Up with John Malkin. Make sure to follow John on social media at John Malkin Live. See you next time, and don't forget to think while you laugh.